Kia ora tātou. Shed, you want to kick us off? Kia ora.
Kia ora no tātou, tātou ko huitahi nei tēnei rā, ka tuku mihi kia tātou. Nō reira me timatara tēnei o tō tātou nei hui, me tuku karakia, nō reira kēnau tātou. E te atua nei rā mātou huitahi nei tēnei rā, ka tuku rā ngā whakamumiti ki a koe, nō reira manakitia rā tātou i ngā hutangi, ngā taki, ngā kaupapa. I ata wānanga hia rā tātou i tēnei rā. Ko te tumanako, ko te wawata, kia whai hua rahi tika. Nō reira te atua tēnei mātune, tēnei ki a koe, korore ki tōna tapa. Āmeni.
Kia ora Shad, mo tō karaki, ka tūwhera tō tātou nei hui. I have apologies from Lara, Burkhardt, Bill Wosley and Des Heke, so I'll move that we accept the apologies. Do I have a seconder? Stephen, thank you. All those in favour? Aye. I moved, yep. We do have one late item of a sort. Jane is here, she'll make a verbal report on the program business case, but otherwise the agenda is as it was reflected. So if there's any other items or matters that or change of order, then we can express that now, otherwise we'll move to the minutes. No. Alright, ka pai. Okay, so we have minutes from the meeting that was scheduled for the 28th of February but held on the 6th of March 2024. Are there any comments on the minutes, any additions or amendments? Moved by Whiti, seconded by Shadrach.
I'll second.
All those in favour, say aye. Aye. Carried. Alright. Are there any additional conflicts that anyone needs to declare? There being none, we move on to the wastewater activity report. Over to you, Jim.
I'll just quickly go through this. So under the main Tamanga outfall discharge consent, so all the results are within consent limits. We're undertaking a MUTA report, and that's the monitoring, upgrade and technical review. The down low on that is that Becca are progressing quite well with that. We had a meeting with Tangata Whenua to discuss around the cultural side of that. So we're currently working through a short form agreement. So we had confirmation endorsement from the Wastewater Management Review Committee that Tauranga Maria will facilitate the Tangata Whenua members' input into the report. So I'm currently drafting up a short form agreement to that effect. Moving on, there's been no emergency discharges from either treatment plant, that's Chapel or Tumanga, since the previous committee meeting. With regard to the seepage consent, so all the seepage results are within the consent limits. Moving on to the wastewater overflows, so we've had 37 blockages since last meeting. 29 of those didn't leave the network or contained to land, and 7 discharged to the stormwater system, which meant that our standard overflow protocols applied. So we're currently undertaking water quality sampling at the moment for a number of overflows. In regards to the odour consents, for both treatment plants, we've had no odour complaints received. Moving on to the project, so desludging of Pond 1 is now complete, and a total of 35,000 wet tonnes has been removed from Pond 1 and placed in Tip Lane landfill. Other projects down at Timanga are all progressing quite well, so that's Clarify number 3, Bioreactor 2, as well as the new inlet works. Moving on to the wastewater network operation, so our engineering team are looking into a field-based app that's going to help with inflow and infiltration. So in the next committee meeting, I'll probably get the engineer to come along and give a talk on that. It's quite new. The heat sensors, they're currently still installed around the city, so they're still providing a useful indication of high levels of wastewater in the wet wells. So there's a number of times that it has been used and it's managed to stop overflows, which has been really good. And finally, the Environmental Mitigation and Enhancement Fund. We held a meeting, so Radley and myself, with Tank Defender members on the 20th of March to discuss a way forward. From that, it was quite clear that there's been significant changes since the guideline document was made, and there might be a better way of utilising the fund. So Tank Defender members are going to discuss to see if they would come up with a new proposal and see if there's any alternatives to the current process. And that's it in a nutshell. Happy to answer any questions.
Fitty, do you have any questions for Jim on his report? Oh, looks like we don't have any questions. Sorry.
Yes, just one correction to make. I missed it, I'm afraid. In section 25, we're talking about the heat sensors. It talks about indications in the wastewater wet wells. It's not the wastewater wet wells, it's manholes. So we just need to change wet wells to manholes. We've got manholes above, but for some reason that's it from me, and then it reads correctly. Thank you.
I wonder whether before we move the receipt of this report, perhaps we'll hear from you, Jane, because I assume it's all part of the activity report, is it? Or it should have been. Okay. Well, perhaps we'll hear from you, and then any question of yours, and then we'll move it all at the end.
I'll just give you a short update on the program business case. You will recall at our last meeting that we saw and received endorsement of all PVC confirmed, project team confirmed outcomes, and yeah, that was provided by the Wastewater Management Review Committee at our last meeting. So that enabled us to progress with the program as we'd set out and the program that we'd provided. Yesterday we had our first long list workshop, so that pretty much went for the whole day. We have some remaining matters that we need to continue with, and we're having a spillover session hopefully on Friday. There will be a second long list workshop held on the 27th of June, after which time there will be a period where we go through and identify a range of studies that are required to inform the assessment of the long list options. So, and we're proposing that those assessments will be carried out pretty much from June to when we can get in front of the new elected members, I guess, and our approach will be to take the long list to the new elected members to confirm their comfort with it, and we will outline the remaining steps, which will then be the assessment of that long list using the information that we've gathered over those few months. So yeah, the program remains the same, but we're not undertaking the assessment of the long list until we can get in front of the new elected members. So the new committee, sorry, yeah, the new committee is formed. So I mean, the end of this year, the beginning of next year. But there will be certainly a period of months where we do have a number of studies that we want to kick off with. Some of those are likely to be with the Western Bay, such as the biosolids. I think there has already been discussions with Western Bay on kicking off that, but yeah. So we will just continue to work as a project team as per the program. Is there any questions?
So, any questions?
It sounds like, through your chair, the the program can proceed, notwithstanding the committee won't be in place for some time. Yeah. So that's good.
Yeah.
Any queries, Fitzy, from what Jane's presented?
No, I was here all day yesterday and I'm happy with the report.
Well, if there are no further questions, I'll remove that the committee receives the wastewater activity report with the inclusion of the verbal update from Jane on the program business case. Is there a seconder?
Yes, I'll second.
Oh, Fitty got in first. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No, I didn't hear any. Alright, so that takes us to, well, there's no late items to deal with, but I did want to mark in closing the gratitude of the Tangata Whenua Committee members, as this is the final meeting for Stephen and Shadrach and Bill, who couldn't be here today. I don't want to labour the point, but just to acknowledge the work that you've done for this committee and for the city more generally. So thank you very much. Good boy.
Spencer, I'd just like to take it for you there, bro. It's been great working with the commissioners, so yeah, I'm sad to see them go.
Ka pai. Alright, hand time back to you.
Yeah, I just want to, I suppose on behalf of the commissioners, also thank the committee, the wider committee for, and the Tangata Whenua members, plus the staff, in the work that's been done. But also thinking about the future and the development of the city and the services and all the things that the city needs as we continue to grow. And for the incoming council, you know, there is still a lot of work in front of not just council staff, but also decisions still yet to be made, given the council still needs to develop a water plan and how it's going to manage its water services over the long period. And on the last council meeting, we did make a decision that the intent for us to work together with Western Bay, work in a collaborative approach to aligning, I suppose, the way we manage our services along with Western Bay, with the intent that the government will pass legislation that will encourage collaboration between councils, and then to have that separation, balance sheet separation, to be able to deliver the things that the community needs over the long term. But just wanted to echo Spencer and Fitzy's comments about the committee. It does add value, I think, to the way our services are delivered, and particularly having that tangata whenua perspective and view. But just lastly, because we've been attending these last kind of wrap-up meetings, I think we've got Waiari next week, and we've had a number of these forums running, and we've suggested and just made a kind of a broad invitation to all of those committees to attend the Tangata Whenua Standing Committee meeting on the 12th of June at Waikari, to attend that, because that'll be our well, the Commission's last kind of formal meeting, and it'll be great to have the wider Māori community in particular there. So yeah, just wanted to mahi to everybody. Okay, so I'll close with a karakia. Nō reira, kia nei tātou. E te atu anei anō rā mātou e huitahi nei, ka tuku anō rā ngā whakamoemiti ki a koe. Ka toro atu rā, wēnei reo whakamoemiti ki a koe. Nō reira, manakitia rā tātou, e ngā āhuatanga, e ngā take e hora nei. Ko te tumanako anō rā, kia whaihua tika rā mā tātou katoa. Nō reira, te atua tēnei mātune, tēnei ki a koe. Korore ki tōnga tapu. Āmeni.